Hi, this is Rev Ed with today's devotional from Genesis chapter 40, verses 20 to 23. On the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, he made a feast for all his servants and lifted up the head of his chief cupbearer and the head of his chief baker among his servants. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. So we see here that Joseph is indeed a true prophet, able to interpret the things of God. And that's something to keep in mind. In the book of Deuteronomy, it says that false prophets were to be taken out and stoned to death. And there are a lot of people these days who present themselves as prophets, and they speak confidently about what's going to happen in the world, what God is going to do, and how the signs are moving this way or that way. And yet no one seems to hold them accountable for prophecies that do not occur the way they say they will. They're like, oh, I've gotten another word from God that says something different. Well, isn't that special? A true prophet will tell exactly what's supposed to happen the way it happens, and that only comes from God. Joseph did the right thing. He told the truth to both the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and his word is proved true. That had to be 3 agonizing days while they waited to find out if what Joseph said was going to be so, and it turned out to be exactly so for both men. And yet, the chief cupbearer, who was restored to his position, and whom Joseph had asked to remember him and put in a good word with Pharaoh, he was evidently so delighted with his restoration to his position and his life being saved that he forgot all about Joseph. And this is one of the things that we need to remember as people who are trying to walk in the ways of God and do the right thing. You're not always going to get rewarded for it. In fact, many times you won't at all. And what we have to do is take our contentment not from the way things work out, not from our circumstances, but from our relationship with the Lord. Our true contentment, our true joy has to rest in something deeper than whether things are going well for us. And so as those who belong to God and are seeking to walk in the ways of God, we cannot look to the world for our affirmation or for applause. We have to be settled in the truth that God loves us. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. And everything is working out the way that it should, even on those days where it sure doesn't feel like it. I'm sure Joseph was just crestfallen when he realized that nobody was coming to get him and that he was stuck in prison after everything that he had been through. And yet, I am confident that Joseph also knew that the Lord was still with him and still had a plan. It's just that he didn't explain it to Joseph. God does not tell us his plans very often. But what we can know, that whatever our circumstances, God is using them to shape us into the image of Christ, that we might be fit for the kingdom of heaven. And so we need to rest content in the Lord and in his love for us and trust that he actually knows better than we do. This is what Paul is driving at in the 4th chapter of his letter to the Philippian church, beginning at the 11th verse. He says, I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We see people use this verse all the time as some kind of inspirational quote. I can do this job, I can hit this home run, I can conquer this obstacle through Christ who strengthens me. But that's not the purpose of this verse. What it means is that we have Christ strengthening us for whatever situation we face. And Paul points out that whatever situation he is in, whether it is abundance or need, he has Christ, which is worth more than all of that. You know, we often think that we need the Lord when we are down and when times are hard, but we also need the Lord when times are good. For those are the times when we are tempted to forget him and simply to pat ourselves on the back for what a good job we've done. We need God every minute of every day. Indeed, Jesus said, apart from me, you can do nothing. So let's rest content today in what the Lord has done for us, what he is doing for us, and what he is preparing us for. Joseph is being prepared for great things, although he does not know this at this point. We know because we've already heard the end of the story. But we can rest confident that whatever we're going through is preparation for what God has in mind for us next. So we should remain content and at peace, knowing that God has us, that he's in control of the world, and that everything is being designed for his glory and for our good. Grab hold of that secret to contentment, that resting in the power of Christ that is with you through all things, and you'll be able to handle anything that comes your way and be a blessing to those around you who've not yet discovered this secret. One of our great privileges is to share that news with others, that they too might come to a place of contentment and joy and peace as we rest in the work of Christ, who has done all things for us. God's blessings be upon you this day.